We're turning you in.
East is,
We do a serious turn.
You so sick.
I think it was, was it in the first thing when you came in? The first one? Oh yeah, you're right. How could I doubt your word that you, Boy Scout that you are?
We live by the compass.
What is it the saying of Boy Scouts or something like my country? I don't know.
Loyalty.
Honesty, loyalty, country.
Country, loyalty.
Good afternoon and welcome to the October 20th, 2021 regular meeting of the Gates County Board of Commissioners. I am Dr. Anthony Riddick, 2021 Chair of the Board. I am joined this afternoon by Commissioner Jack Owens, Vice Chair, Commissioner Ray Freeman, Commissioner Linda Hoffler, County Manager Tim Wilson, County Attorney Philip Godwin, and Clerk to the Board, Jolitha Chestnut. At this time, I'm going to ask Vice Chairman Jack Owens to lead us in prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Good evening. Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for your presence in this meeting tonight. Lord, we ask you to be with our citizens tonight, Lord, and with those viewing us, Lord. And we just ask for your discernment and your perfect will on this meeting. And this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I ask the commissioners to look at the agenda and ask for approval of the agenda for amendments.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adjust the agenda to include a conversation maybe led by the county manager on the prepaid water bill topic.
And where would you like that to be placed?
I would ask for your,
New business?
yes, ma'am, maybe there. Is that,
Okay.
think that'll be good?
Okay.
Where at in new business? We want to be near the top or?
At the bottom,
Okay.
the last item under C, that'll be D.
The item E.
Item E, okay.
Item
be
E.
E.
Item E, okay.
That's the only adjustment I have.
Second, the agenda as amended.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Next, we have the consent agenda, which includes the approval of minutes from September the 15th, 2021 regular meeting, approval of minutes October the 6th, 2021 special meeting, and tax requests for refunds.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion for approval. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Good evening. As you can see, the board has two items scheduled for public hearing tonight. The first is on a proposed purchase of property, and the second is on amending the county fee ordinance to create a new billing cycle for water and sewer, to remove a late fee penalty, and to increase service and reconnection fees. As with all public hearings, the board will receive comments only on the specific matters as advertised. Also, the board has just approved amending the agenda of tonight's meeting and added the matter of water and sewer bill prepayment under new business. Please be advised that this will be a board discussion and that public questions or comments will not be taken by the board on this matter at this time and any other new business items, as is the board's practice. If anyone present tonight desires to present comments to the board on this matter, you will have the opportunity to do so during the citizen comments portion of the meeting. The citizen comments portion of the meeting is conducted in much the same manner as public hearings. Neither is a question and answer session, and citizens are to direct their comments to the board. We have some sign-up forms on this front table to my left in the front. If you want to speak in person at the podium, you may do so. We've also have some comments that were sent in to the board clerk, Mr. Letha Chestnut. So I'll pause for just a minute in case someone wants to come and sign up for public comment that did not do so when they came in. Well, thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any comments that were to be read by the clerk to the board?
Yes.
Yes, or you come to the podium and read them one at a time. These are comments that were sent to the clerk to be read. The people who sent them in, or the citizens who sent them in, could not attend. She will give their name and just their, not the full address, just like Porter's Hospital or
Okay.
whatever, okay?
I have a Mr. Eric Widmeyer from Gates, North Carolina. Following that would be a Jamie Payne, Leslie Small from Cora Pete, Cal Truman from Eure, Carol Ward, and Valerie Riddick from Sunbury. I'm going to start with Mr. Eric Widmer, and it was in reference to the prepaid water bill. I do not get in this area all the time. I like paying my water bill 3 to 4 months in advance. This allows me not to have to worry about late fees nor the water being cut off. I would like a response to me having to pay a few months ahead. This is an inconvenience for me on a monthly basis, coming down every month to pay my bill. Sincerely, Eric Widmeyer. Second is Jamie Payne. Good morning, Mr. Wilson and Associates. I'm writing to you today in regards to the meeting the county is having on Wednesday. Due to my working schedule, I will not be able to attend. Even though I cannot attend, I wish my voice to be heard among the many present and my concerns to be voiced. I am a recent transplant in Gates County, having only been living here for 2 years. However, I have lived in a lot of places, in a lot of states, and never have I had the problems that I've experienced here. One of which is the water within the county. I strongly feel that instead of sinking $600,000 into a new project, that the county take the money and fix the broken systems that you have. The water system is one of the biggest broken systems that the county has. Changing the billing system to every 2 months isn't fixing anything. If anything, it's going to exacerbate the problem you already have. I personally have all of my bills on auto pay because I don't know when I have to go away for weeks or months on end. This county is the first one I've come across since the advent of the internet in which I cannot set up a prepaid system. I have to call my payment in, and most of the times I overpay due to the fact that I live a busy lifestyle. Sometimes I get very little notice when I'm going to ship out and be gone. Sometimes I leave thinking I'm only going to be gone for 2 weeks, and it winds up being months. Having bills on auto pay lightens the burden on my family, and I'm not sure that would lighten the load on a lot of people. I know I'm not the only one forgettable person in this world. Auto pay will help forgetful people pay their bills on time and lighten the administrative burden on the county staff. It could possibly lessen your late payments by a significant amount. It would also lessen your manning for having to send out people to turn off and on the water all the time. But seeing the county has neglected to follow the times, I overpay and more likely am not alone in this endeavor. I've recently been told that the county will no longer be taking overpayments at the county. I've lived in several places that got rid of taking cash altogether due to administrative burden county money entails. It also lessens the chances of theft and embezzlement. On top of that, the country is having this so-called coin shortage. With the broken monetary system we are experiencing, how do you expect people to have exact change? On top of that, the county will have to make sure their cashiers have exact change to give back to the customers. You are just adding undue stress unto everyone, not allowing them to pay the negative balance forward. Not to mention you would be looking at legal consequences if the cashier didn't have money to give them back their change, or refusing payment when a legal tender was given. Another broken system that's not happening with this water is the failure of the postal system. There have been many months in which I have not received a water bill. I am just going to assume the postal system edited. Either way, I was happy I was home one day when I watched this young man walking around my front yard. I told my husband about it and we watched him walking around looking down at the ground. Finding his behavior peculiar, we continued to watch ever gotten a utility turned off for being late. I knew for sure I never received a bill. Come to find out I was late. 1 month late, and here they are, ready to turn off my water. Instead of being livid at the young man, I paid the bill over the internet and showed him that I did. He thanked me and drove away. I learned a couple of things that day. One, that the boy was here to turn off my water and didn't know where the meter was. 2, the water company was quick to turn off my water. 3, they charged me a reconnect fee on the bill. I paid over the internet even though they never turned it off. For I can't rely on the postal system to even give me a bill. Because of the ignorance of the man in the location of my water main, I went looking for it. I found it on several inches of mud. I actually had to dig it out to find the counter. So if I had to dig it out, how the heck are they reading my meter and getting an accurate count? That tells me there is more neglect in this system than just billing. With our county in turmoil and the current system falling apart, putting enough stress and strain on her people. After the last year, everyone could go for a small break in making their lives a bit easier. I feel as the county should reallocate the money it's wanted to place into Commerce Park and upgrade the system to the 21st century. There are enough foxes in the henhouse, making their life hard for the people in this county. The members of this council doesn't need to be one of them. Next is Leslie Small, to whom it may concern. I am asking that my below statement be made to the public at the October the 20th meeting, Gates County Board of Commissioners. First and foremost, I would like to address that I have lived in this county all of my life. I am 23 years old, I own my own house, I pay taxes in the county this year, I have a Gates County education, and I'm proud of it. Unlike a lot of classmates, I always said I would return back here after college, and for some reason, unbeknownst to me, I actually did. While at NCSU, I worked for RTI International, a nonprofit governmental commercial research organization in Research Triangle Park. There I learned sustainable water and sanitation brings communities together. When I learned that the robotic phone calls alerting customers of water disconnects would no longer be in operation, I was immediately alarmed. In a global pandemic, our county leaders said it's okay to allow no forewarning of water turnoffs. The board says it's fine to exclude access to a necessary tool needed to wash away the daily virus. I acknowledge that there are enormous investments being made to ensure safe and improved water access. I'm sure the board is aware that 663 million people still lack access to water despite those investments globally. The board is probably increasingly aware of the fact that climate-smart infrastructure is no longer optional as our region experiences increasingly worsening floods and weather due to climate change and a global pandemic. All of these things are undeniable, even in our community. We all have one thing in common. We all need water to survive. The average Gates County water bill, according to UNC's NC Water and Wastewater Rates Dashboard, is 1.7% of the median household income. You can interpret this as 1, a small fraction of your monthly or bi-monthly, in this case, bills. 2, or one more necessary bill you have to make this month to survive. Now imagine that irregular bill, plus a late fee and a reinstallment fee, on top of the fact that you need to make formula for your child, but the water is cut off and you didn't know. In a county where nearly 15% of its population lives below the poverty line, you would think the Board of Commissioners would approve sustainable water management programs that serve over 11,000 of its customers who rely on them daily. Instead, our accounts are outsourced elsewhere. Instead of investing money towards beneficial economic, environmental, and sanitation measures, our board has decided to propose $600,000 to purchase commercial property deemed unfit to build upon by a professional real estate developer. Splurge on a well-deserved $13,490 conference table to host live stream meetings most citizens are unaware of, and an AV system to enhance the experience for their YouTube channel that says there are no videos available on its homepage. We must also remember that some of this money was CARES Act money. May I remind you that CARES Act money was meant to go toward helping small businesses, travel, governments, industry, and most importantly, economic relief and coronavirus recovery. I would like to know how the purchase of unusable commercial real estate and office supplies were deemed more important than the care of our community. I tried to find these resources for myself and found that the Gates County government got a website design as well. As I work as a website designer, I understand the redesign of the county website was not a cheap venture. I hope my taxpayer dollars did not go towards this, as I would have gladly have volunteered my services to help develop an ADA and a WCAG complaint website, which the current site is not. Even though I have experience with building and navigating websites, I struggle greatly with using our public website. Our new website presents severe issues with usability, accessibility, and most importantly, inclusivity. The website is the digital environment in which our elected officials operate. Yet their minutes, instructions for community participation, and overall engagement is lacking with their audience. You might say that your digital brand doesn't matter, but it does. I urge our board to see the community doesn't see you at your office making these decisions. They barely see your notices in the Gates County Index. In reality, they should have to pay Cal Bryant money to see what their money goes towards at all. That 15% below the poverty line certainly shouldn't either. The one place anyone can go, however, is the internet. It's free and everyone has access it somewhere. If we are investing in providing accessible information to our community, we need to ensure that it is accessible to everyone, just like our board. Listen to your community that's at this meeting and online. Hear what they have to say, because in reality, there might be someone out there that goes home tonight and cannot wash their hands to prevent a virus or provide themselves with the nourishment they need to survive. The Gates County Board of Commissioners could have made a difference in that, but they didn't because they decided to allocate money towards their own luxuries rather than the bare necessities of those in need in our community. Next is Cal Truman. Dear County Commissioners, I am unable to attend in person tonight, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to have my thoughts shared publicly at tonight's meeting. I write on behalf of dozens of concerned citizens in regards of the proposed purchase of land near Sony Lane. We would like to know why the county is considering purchasing that land. From what we understand, the $600,000 that will be used to purchase this land is from our reserves, our savings. Many of us think that it is a good idea to have money in savings. When we have money in savings, there will be less need to raise taxes in the future. When we have money in savings, we are ready to handle the unexpected expenses that always pop up when we least expect them. We also have local law enforcement officers that are underpaid. Many citizens in our community keep wondering how long this will continue and get upset quickly when we think about major spending that is unnecessary. If I am wrong about anything that I've mentioned so far about the current matter, please forgive me and please help us understand the facts. I do plan to watch the recording of this meeting. We all live in a nation with the largest government in human history that overtaxes its people and blows our money recklessly. Overtaxation has become synonymous with theft. We don't want our local government to participate in this. We ask that you not be reckless with our money. We ask that you be more responsible with our money than you have been in the past. Please tell us why you are considering purchasing this land with our money, and please don't be reckless with our money. I thank you for hearing me and my fellow citizens. I thank you for your service to our community, and I want you to know that I bring you to God in prayer several times a week. Please look to Him and His holy word for wisdom and guidance in all that you do. Next is Carol Ward. I am writing this letter about the proposed purchase of the land adjoining Sony Lane. First, I apologize for not being able to be here in person, as I am at work currently and unable to attend the meeting. I have looked at the tax records for the parcel of the land that are proposed to be purchased at $600,000. The tax excess value is $306,000. My first question is why would anyone pay twice as much as the tax assessed value for any land? This is my opinion in a very irresponsible decision. My next question is why are we using essentially our savings account, emergency fund money for this purchase? What is the emergency that we face that we need to purchase this land for? If there is no emergency that can be defined, then this should be a short meeting and we should not purchase said land. If there is an emergency or a significant need, please communicate this at this time. We had a legitimate emergency several years ago with a $300,000 discrepancy in the budget, and the emergency fund money was needed to provide funding for the county to continue operating. What will we do if this happened again next budget cycle? Where will the money come from? I understand that our new county manager has a strong background in economic development. He, of all people, should understand you don't use emergency money to fund a project such as this. With that said, what is the plan for this land if we do purchase it? As a citizen, this appears to be a segue to some sort of development. With this type of investment, there should be a business plan that will, in a very detailed manner, explain the process. By process, I mean from date of purchase, there should be a timeline that spells out when we, the citizens, will receive the benefit from this purchase. Unless you are prepared to share this plan with the citizens tonight, there should be a no vote for the purchase of this land. At no time shall a handful of people be allowed to spend this type of money without first presenting to the public what the plan would be and when we could see a return on investment. The land will not perk, meaning there is no septic system solution other than pumping waste to the county spray field off of Wheel Lane. Who will fund the connection of the sewer system to the spray field? What type of use is planned for the land? It has to be business as it is zoned C1, which is commercial. A request to have it rezoned to residential has already been denied by the current owner. So if you rezone it, now the original owner can sue you for not doing it for him when he requested it. This could cost the taxpayers additional money. Are we planning to use additional emergency money to fund the legal defense if needed? Upon review of this proposal, this appears to be a development plan where the county foots the bill for the land and sewage. The county will have to provide tax breaks for the potential businesses to even think about locating here. So in the end, the taxpayer will end up losing additional revenue to the county as the current owner pays taxes on the land. Once the county owns the land, there will not be any tax revenue generated by the county-owned land. Thus increased debt by the county on undeveloped, now non-taxable land. The latest rumor is that the plan is for Section 8 housing. This would be the absolute worst idea in the history of the county. Of course, the manager is going to say we will get federal money for such housing. Trust me when I say this. There is no amount of funding worth building Section 8 housing in Gates County. If this is the intended use of this property, I have several questions. First, where will monies come from to address the issues that accompany Section 8 housing? Building maintenance, refuse disposal, more police, fire, and EMS. Section 8 housing comes with many strings attached that we as citizens have not agreed to pay for. If this is the intended use, please ensure that the county manager signs a contract to fund any budget shortfall from his salary. If he will not do so, then ask yourself why. I will end with this. Please do not use our savings, emergency money, to fund an idea for a pipe dream. Regards, Carol Ward. Next is Valerie Riddick. Hello, I am not able to join online for the meeting this evening. My comments in the opposition of changing the water bill process with account carries a credit balance. As I expressed to the water department, some citizens may pay 2 or 3 months at a time. It's good not having to come to Gatesville or mail your bill every month. Also, you have family members out of town that may still be responsible for water services at family residence. What was the organized plan for the change? We still need to get adjusted to getting a bill every other month. I pay 3 bills and 2 would be on one cycle and the other on the opposite cycle. I can no longer pay all 3 bills at the same time and allow a credit on the account. Thanks for any consideration. Valerie Riddick, Sunbury citizen.
Thank you, Ms. Chestnut.
And for public comment, we have and Miss Ann Howell, Edward Will, and Leslie Small. And they need to come in that order.
This is Miss
Ann Howell.
Miss Dow-
Ann Howell,
Miss Howell.
19 White Oak Road, Ewell. My comments are concerning the same thing that she was just reading about there. No prepayment. I've been fortunate enough to be able to be gone for the winter, and I figure out what it's gonna be at the minimum rate, and I pay it for 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, whatever. I've never had any problem. I bring my bill to Gatesville because there's been problems with the mail, with it getting on time. I make a trip from White Oak to Gatesville to drop it in the box or either give it to the girls in the office. Never had any problem at all. The mail situation is getting worse. My mail, I don't know where they forward it from. It doesn't come to the Ewell Post Office, so it's intercepted somewhere. And I have a mailbox where I get my mail where I am. And if the mail situation gets worse, I don't know whether I'd even get a bill or not. I got 5 pieces of mail in April that was mailed December the 19th. They had been wet. You could read part of it. There was enough there that it was sent to me. I don't have any problem with the 2 months now. That doesn't matter to me at all, and I'm thankful to have county water. But I just feel like that this prepay thing has gotten out of hand, and I don't know what the answer is, but I don't feel like that's the answer. Thank you. I was hoping that I could wait till the second citizens' comments and see what took place in the meantime, but I see there's no place for second comments. Thank you.
Who's next?
Edward Will.
Leslie's already spoke.
I'll let young lady go first.
Okay.
Didn't you have the letter, Leslie?
I already made my statements,
Oh.
but I think that also goes back to what I already said.
This is Leslie Small.
I apologize. It always, she already read my statement and made a great deal of it, but it kind of goes back to what I said in my statement. If all we had these information, I wouldn't be up here making a big scene right now, so.
Okay. And who's next?
Edward Will.
Well,
Well.
Yes.
WBB.
Good evening, folks.
Oh, sure.
How are you all?
Oh, okay.
I'm Edward Will, that y'all have known me, Jack, Ms. Hopper, Mr. Freeman. Mr. Wilson, had a chance to meet you yet. I'm the former sheriff. I grew up here in this county, and I was going to ask you, sir, do you know who owned that farm that you all were trying to buy? Do you know who the original owner was of it? Just ask me. You would know that it was Dr. Hand. Used to be a gentleman here in the community. He was raised here, and he was very, very well known in the community. He tried for years and years and years to make a go of it on that piece of property because of the fact that it was farmland. It was handed down to his family through years and years of being here in Gates County. He had a hard time. After he moved on and tried to let other farmers get there too, they couldn't make a go of it. The land is so sorry, so bad, that it won't purr, as you've heard. Ladies and gentlemen, I come to you all as a citizen, as a taxpayer, and I'm probably your worst enemy now because I've been where you all were at. 5 terms as sheriff, I know how politics are played. And something's not right about this. Something's not right about this. And I'm not blaming anybody, saying anything bad about anybody, but y'all need to take a real, real hard look at this. That piece of property has never been anything more than just a sand pit. Right now, the only thing that's out there I know is a sewage lagoon, and y'all, like the folks said, y'all are putting sewage through there. Who a few years back, y'all were trying to beg and trying to find a spray field for our sewer system. You ended up going and buying some land from Mr. George Lane out there behind Will Lane, and you caused everybody on Will Lane's property taxes to go down because now they got a sewer system sitting in their back door. Y'all all heard that. You've been here long enough to know that. And all I'm saying is, as a taxpayer, as a citizen, and as a person that cares about this county, that loves this county, that gave my heart and soul to this county, to see $600,000 being spent on a piece of ground that's not worth even stand on. And you've got people out here, you hear it here, you hear the other citizens talking about the water system, the billing system we have in the county. You hear him talk about social services, the other things that are needed in this community, and y'all are going to spend money for a piece of ground that's really not worth anything? I don't know what the plan is. It's like Carol Ward said. You know, if there's some situation that y'all going to try to do, y'all going to try to put housing out there and everything, I challenge each and every one of you. Just like he said, if it's that important, it's that willing, y'all put your salaries up for it. Y'all put part of what you all get paid to come out there and help. Put it up there. Make a promise to the citizens that yes, something's going to come out of good out of this. Because right now, everything that looks like it's just like he said. It's going down the drain, folks. I respect each and every one of you. I've worked with each and every one of you. We've been through thick and thin. I can sit here and look at 3 of you eye to eye and know that for a fact. We've gone through thick and thin. But I also sit back and think about some of the other commissioners that are here. Kenny Jernigan, Johnny Hoare for one. You know, different ones that have been there that have worked and worked. Sherwood Easton worked all his life, worked his year to try to make things better for folks in Gates County. And all I can say in this situation like this is, if you all can give us, the citizens, everybody in here, a reason why this piece of land is so important, spend $600,000 for, then maybe we could understand. But I haven't heard anything or anyone try to even mention and explain to why. Another thing, and I'll say it, I'm going to close with this. I'm like everybody else. I'm not a big computer person. I don't have a computer at my house. Yes, I have to use one at work. And Ray Freeman knows me well enough that we did a lot of things together. He knows when it comes to dealing with computers, sometimes it took me a long time to realize what I was doing. But I will say this, what I'm getting around to is, I shouldn't have to read in the newspaper. Or I shouldn't have to sit here and go and depend on the gossip, or email, or Facebook to hear what's going on in the county. You all are elected by the people of this county, just as I was. And the folks in the county hold you all accountable for everything that goes on in this county. When's the last time any of you went to a football game in high school?
About a month ago.
About a month ago? Why is that, Ms. Hopper?
I
You were
always
an
go-
educator. You believe in the school system. You work for the school system. And I'm very proud of you, lads. When's the last time any of you went to a ball game beside Ms. Hopper?
I was there Friday.
You were there Friday night? Thank goodness. I know why you were there Friday night. I know why you were there. But what I'm just trying to say, folks, is if y'all are going to make a decision like this, have some more input from your citizens. Everything I've heard so far has been nobody at all jumping up and down saying, yeah, let's do this. I was in office for 5 terms, and I had to answer to the citizens each and every day. It was not a good job. It was not an easy job. But I tried to do my best at it. And I thank you, other citizens that are sitting here and folks in this county, are the reason why y'all will spend $600,000 for a piece of land that's really not worth a cent. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Okay, that's the end of the public comments or the citizen comments. We'll move on to administrative reports, departmental reports. County manager, who we have? Chris Hill.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hard act to follow. In your package, you have the tax collector report for September of 21. Collections are still strong. Collection rate for the fiscal year so far is 14.63%. Last year, it's not showing on this sheet, but last year at this time we were at 13.74%, so we're about a percentage over where we were. This time last year, $483,820 total tax collections for the month, plus DMV fees, plus Zacchaeus fees. Any questions on any of those?
Any questions, Mr. Hill?
No, we have sent a null batch to Zacchaeus, haven't we, of delinquent?
Yes, ma'am, we have. And actually, on that topic, we do have a tax foreclosure sale happening tomorrow with Zacchaeus here at noon at the courthouse across the street. That's for property at 602 Page Riddick Road. Opening bid on that is $5,392.09. So we hope to get it sold tomorrow.
Okay.
That's at noon.
Any other questions or comments from Mr. Hill?
Self-explanatory, very good. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good
Chris.
night. Thank you.
Ms. Outland. Finance Officer, Ms. Kim Outland.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
There wasn't a lot to report for this month. We are working on our audit. We have turned in everything. Our auditors have begun the work this week remotely. They will be on site next week. So more to come on the audit. In your packet, I usually have the sales tax report revenue, the sales tax revenue report. I have not received anything yet, which is unusual. This would be for the month of July collections. I don't know if there was a holdup because there's not a state budget yet. I'm not sure what the holdup is, so I don't have anything to report on that at this time. For the finance office, we did start our interviews for our finance position this week. We will finalize that on tomorrow. And currently, the School of Government is holding a free, it's 6-session kind of Zoom classes over the next few weeks on the ARP funds. I have put in your packet, it was the detailed agenda for the first 2 sessions, just so you could kind of see what items that they were reviewing. All of the Zoom meetings will be recorded for future viewing if you guys would like to see any of those based on those topics. Any questions for me?
One question, Madam Chairman, and that is, maybe just clarification, with the revenue, since the state hasn't let us know, do you expect any decline? Or I know we were on an upward spiral.
I don't anticipate any decline, but again, not having that report's really hard to say what that's looking like. And this is based on when consumers go out and buy things. So unless folks have stopped, going out and shopping, or there's been a decline in that, then we would see a decline.
And then it's true that last year our sales tax receipts went up.
Yes, we have seen an increase each fiscal year.
Any other questions are coming from Ms. Outland? Thank you, Ms. Outland.
You're welcome.
I entertain a motion to open public hearing for the Board of Commissioners on the purchase of property at Briarwood.
I like that motion.
Second that motion.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Staff presentation.
Yes, Madam Chair. The board is having a public hearing on this issue tonight. This is a state requirement, a statutory requirement in terms of process whenever the county is looking at making a land purchase. This particular purchase is, the board has had discussions with Mr. Al Carey, who is president of Briarwood Forest Products. He is looking at selling and has had discussions with the county concerning the sale of 5 parcels, which total approximately 145 acres, known as Commerce Park, and this property is located directly across from the county high school, also where the state credit union is. I think most people probably know the vicinity. The board has met with Mr. Carey on a few occasions in terms of a selling price. A sale price of $600,000 has been agreed to by the parties involved. In terms of other costs, closing costs, so forth, it was also decided that those costs would be split equally. The property has been reviewed by the county attorney, and it's been found to be clear of any encumbrances, no problems with the deed. So there should be no legal problems concerning the purchase. The board's major intent for the purchase of this property is for economic development purposes. The board has many needs, it has many priorities, all of them cost money. The board has made a policy decision that they wish to pursue and place economic development at the top of that list, because they understand to generate the funds to provide the maintenance, to provide the services at the level that they wish to provide for the citizens of Gates County. That's going to take money, and our costs, just like everyone else's costs, are rising. And to generate that money, they can either do it through a increase in the tax rate, or they can try to develop the taxable revenues out there. The board has chose to pursue a path of economic development and try to increase the tax base to generate additional revenues. This site is found to be strategic in location, and that it is on a primary highway. It does have good size to accommodate different types of economic development of various sizes. It's also in the vicinity of other public facilities, the high school, the library, the community center. It's also very close by to the middle school and to the state park. And so this property also has some potential and could potentially be used in part to meet future public needs for various facilities. Housing, I've heard a lot of that mentioned this evening. Housing would not be a primary planning objective for this property, but the county does have a lack of both homes for sale and rental property. And it also has, or does not have, a mix of housing types. The housing that is available is predominantly single-family dwellings on individual lots. One thing that may be looked at for a portion of this property would be something of multifamily in the form of a small townhome type development. So those are some of the reasons why the board is looking at this property. It's considered a strategic location, that the primary objective of this property is for development in terms of economic development. And in terms of the price, that is all fair from what the board's research has been on this. I want to make it clear that there is no signed contract, there's no deal that has been finalized with Mr. Carey. So the board has not committed itself to anything at this point, and could not have done so without first having this public hearing to receive public comment, to hear the thoughts of the public, and also if there's new information to be brought forward that was unaware of the board, is also a very legitimate purpose of this public hearing. Madam Chair, I return it back to you.
Commissioner Owens, you have anything to add?
Yes, in anticipation of some of the comments, because we'd seen some things on the email, I had jotted a few things down, and actually jotted a few things down while letters were being read and the citizens were referring to it. Well, the first thing I want to say about economic development is Dollar General, Dollar General, Dollar General. We have 3 in the county, okay? They came to Gates County because there is a need. They would not have come to Gates County and spent their money if they didn't intend to make money and be successful at it. That's exactly what we're choosing to do, is to make more land available for people like Dollar General to provide services for you and to provide revenue for the things that we're currently spending the tax dollars on. Payroll, emergency services, sheriff's department, schools. So, statement made earlier that our costs are going up. We don't want to tax the citizens anymore. So we're trying to generate things, opportunities that will create more revenue for our tax base. All the decisions made concerning the Commerce Park from the very beginning were based on this same principle, bringing services to the county. All the decisions that were made on the sewer were based on the grant dollars that we got. Sure, we had to add some more dollars to it, but we had an opportunity to get a grant to have a sewer in Gates County, which we were really required to have because of the high school, the central school, and because the state gave us the sewer. The state was maintaining the sewer. They gave it to us because they closed the prison. Okay, so it was sort of dropped in our lap. So we took, now that we own that sewer, we said, these two gentlemen purchased that piece of property, and they said they were going to develop it. So we started looking for dollars, grant dollars, and found grant dollars to make it happen. So I just want to say that in the beginning so that people who don't know the full history of it, that's how it began. Let me say that we did not chase after Al Carey to purchase the property. As you know, he came to the podium during a public hearing and wanted to do some different things with that property. Well, we made all these decisions for you and for this board and for the future of the Commerce Park, not based on it being cut up in 10-acre plots and having one person out there with one house. It was not going to generate enough money to do what we want to do in tax revenue. Okay? So, looking at our earlier decisions, we said we can't ditch those decisions. So we decided to, if it's ever going to be commercial, thinking that he would sell it to a developer, was my thinking. He would end up selling it to a developer, and a developer would do what we're talking about. Dollar Generals, Bojangles, an optometrist, you know, the things that you go out of the county for. Think about it, folks. You go out of the county for these services. Why can't we have them in the county for you and get the tax revenue base off of it? So again, those decisions have been made on those things. So here are some of the things that I jotted down. ARP funds are coming to the county. There's some opportunities for us to use those ARP dollars to help with possibility with the ditching out there, maybe to help with something with the sewer in the near future. There's grant funding out there that's coming available for counties our size. We're going to try to use dollars like that. And one of the key things is, without us owning that property, we have no control over what is built beside the nursing home. The previous owner could have sold a piece of property out there and sold it commercially, and somebody could have come out there and put up a small building. State Employees Credit Union went out there believing that it was going to be developed with properties that looked like their property, a nice property. The nursing home built a really good-looking, fantastic building out there. They didn't come out there with the intentions of somebody putting a shack up beside them. The same thing is true with our library. So now, by owning the property, we have the ability to set standards. That's something that you'll be hearing from us in the near future. We're going to set standards to saying what will be allowed to be built out there. You know, what the roof will look like. We had no control of that while it was owned by Mr. Carey. But anyway, what we're talking about doing is the same thing. It's the same thing that Dollar General and Family Dollar has done out there. This is cluster development. If you've ever read or heard anything about cluster development, it's the new concept. You don't build your store somewhere by yourself. You build next to another industry. That's why McDonald's and Burger King and Hardee's, that's why they all build right beside each other, okay? So this is cluster development. We heard earlier from the county manager that this is a really good location, center of the county, near our high schools. You know, I went to a soccer game in Edenton this week on Monday. When we left, we went to Dairy Queen. I went to a soccer game in Gatesville last night. When we left, we went home. Now, I'm not saying that to be ugly or anything, but that is what I'm referring to. We have this opportunity to provide services for you, for your children, for revenue, for the future, and I'm sure that it's the way to go in the future. You know, we need to believe that if Dollar General can do it, that somebody else can do it. Now, let me say that when we met in this meeting room back here in closed session several times, we agreed, I'm going to use the word unanimously, everyone in the room agreed. We went around the room. Everyone agreed to move forward with this project. Not after one meeting, not after two meetings, maybe 2 or 3 meetings. One of the comments that I made, and I think there was agreement that we're not specialists in developing a commerce park. So one of the comments that I made was, we don't need to do this ourselves. We need to solicit and interview someone with a proven track record, like a real estate agent who sells homes. We need to find a relationship and have a relationship with an economic developer who has a proven track record and say, we'd like for you to work on this project, and let them get paid just like a real estate agent. When they sell your house, they get compensated. If they don't sell your house, they don't get compensated. So we're going to be looking with the full board's approval at finding that person who can do that. We're not experts on improving that land. And just to say one thing about the sewer, when you hook up to our sewer, there's a fee that's paid. It's called an impact fee. Okay? So when someone goes out there to our sewer, there'll be a fee. I believe we charge this to the ones that have already built out there. And they will be paying a monthly fee for water. They'll be paying a monthly fee for sewer. And they'll be paying a tax revenue. So I really would like but I understand all the questions and all the emails, because you don't have the information that the county manager has shared or that I just shared. And it's recorded, so that's good. But I would hope that the community would say, finally the commissioners are bringing something to the county that I don't have to go outside of town for. Are we opposed to having the Bojangles? Are we opposed to, you take that sentence, are you opposed to, and you insert what you're not opposed to, or insert in that statement what you'd like to see come. I wish we would be hearing from people saying, we support you, and this is what I'd like for you to have the economic developer chase down. So, Madam Chair and citizens and board, I didn't intend to say that much, but when you're trying to do something like this, I think the more that we communicate on it, I think the better off we'll all be. I hope we have your support in it. And then just one other quick thing. When you do economic development, and the big companies will say, when they believe in it and see the future, you're not selling an acre of land for $40,000. You're selling a building lot for far more than $40,000 or $45,000. If you know what some of the big companies pay for a building lot, it's a big number. So I hope you'll support us in it. And I apologize for the length of time. I'm sorry.
No apologies. Commissioner Hopper?
I think Jackie said a lot already, so I will not belabor and say those over again. But I do know that we have had people express interest or seeing if something was available here, and we just had nowhere to show them where to be interested in. And as it's been stated, it is centrally located. It is also on a major highway, 158. Well, we have 158, 13, and 32. And it is on the major highway. And the third point, that I'm not going to belabor this, but the third point is land is not going to get any cheaper. And it's an opportunity to get it. I'm very conservative about spending money, but I do believe this is opportunity that we have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to get something to come here because we'll have it available, and it is, like I say, centrally located. Our library's out there, the credit union's out there. He mentioned Dollar General. They have track records of doing well in the county. And businesses will check that out. And so if they see that someone else is in here making money, they'll be more likely to come. They also do studies of the highways, the number of cars going by. 158, as 13 and 32 are our three major highways. If anyone is looking for a place that will have visibility and a lot of cars passing, that is the location.
Thank you. Commissioner Freeman?
Good day. A lot has been said, and probably my fellow commissioners will know that the doubt that I expressed when we began this journey, looking at the property and looking at the potential that might bring to Gates County. One thing that Jack said that I was certainly tuned in on, and even made a little note down here, that Al Carey came to us, and we didn't seek him out. We weren't seeking to buy that property because he had it. He had come here, and we denied that, I think he called them farmettes, if I'm not mistaken. And that did not seem to be a good process, because we knew then that if they were sold in X number of plots, then something could be here that might be a danger or whatever. The planning might not be able to do anything about it, or your neighbor. So farmettes didn't really meet what the county needs. But what does need, and what we looked at for you and for our citizens, is economic development. How can we do something for Gates County? Because we love Gates County. We wouldn't be up here, believe it or not, taking any abuse or not, and whether you want a vaccine or not. The bottom line is to do the good for Gates County. So what can we do? The sewage system was failing, right? Are you aware of that? And we had to do something. We had to spend money. We had, pardon?
The prison one was failing.
Well, so going to the high school,
Yeah,
we had to
I think
do
so.
something, or the high school was going to crush, because we would not have had the sewage system to support it or anything else. So therefore, one little step with another. Well, that puts that ability of a sewage system that we need in Gates County. Be nice to have it everywhere, but anyway, at that particular area. So there are some costs that are saved. And my fellow commissioners brought that to my attention as I kind of put up a little bit of resistance as we began to talk about this. But economic development. Then as I look at what happens out of the mill pond, we have 240,000 people come to the mill pond. How many merchants do we have in here that have 40,000 people come and visit them from out of the county to buy a lawnmower, to buy a slice of cheese or cheeseburger that doesn't exist unless you buy it somewhere else. So economic development became a big issue in our meetings. Therefore, what can we do? And that's what is available for the county. I know I heard in some of that, and I read ahead of you, Julissa, in this, and I saw that about, well, the tax value of the property is this, and we paid that. Well, how often do you buy something? Have you ever bought any property? You've done a title search on it, you've done a tax. The tax value is not what you end up paying for it, correct? Unless you buy it on the courthouse steps, and that may not be. So don't let that influence your thought process that the tax value versus what the county is anticipating paying. This is not a done deal, but it is something for listen to. It's something for us to weigh. I listened to read what Ms. Small put on there too, and all her background, and I thought that is so important. And she would understand the waters, the sewage in Gates County. Would an area such as a Commerce Park or somewhere else be attracted to natural gas? We do have natural gas running through certain areas in Gates County, believe it or not, but we don't have it where we need it. That might attract some company, Piedmont or whomever, to natural gas, which includes then would expand into other possibilities and potential. What I would like to see us do is also reach out for economic development. And all of us as commissioners, we want to do that, and we want to see the people we have in charge chasing that, looking at that. And so we're looking at this being a magnet for economic development. What I'd love to see, I'd love to have seen us reaching out to Smith & Wesson, who just moved to Kentucky, moved their entire outfit from another state to Kentucky. Why? Because the people in that particular state did not want them manufacturing ammunition and weapons. So the councilman there raised their taxes and raised so much cane with them that they moved. They moved to Kentucky. Love to see them move to Gates County, particularly Highway 37 and 13. But nevertheless, we have to have something to attract. So that's what influenced me, and as well as my commissioners kind of kicking me in the butt because I was not moving very fast on the thought process. But I think you need to know, and you need to know what we need to know, and you need to chew on it and think about some of the things we've said. It's not a decision particularly right this moment for me. However, I think you need to chew on it, and you need to think, where do we want to go? What do we need to do? I know that when I was in the fourth rows, should I run for commissioner or not, I had a dear cousin of mine who's sitting here as our county attorney asking me to run for commissioner. I really didn't want to do it. However, the need was there, and then do we want to move forward? Do we want to do things for the people of Gates County? Do we want to change Gates County? Yes. Do we not want to hurt Gates County? No, we don't want to hurt the citizens. And we don't want to do anything that would hurt them or place anything that would. Monetarily, yes, we're hurting. And one thing that I heard from my dear cousin, I keep picking on him because I look at him down there, I brought him some nabs tonight in case this was long, but is it not raise taxes? We had commissioners who want to raise taxes 15 cents. And I went, oh, hell no. We're not going to raise taxes. And I stood still throughout that process. No, no, no. And then finally I folded and we raised taxes 3 cents to make that budget work. So that was 3 cents. What else are we going to run into as citizens and as a county? And we do love this county, so we don't want to raise taxes 15 cents. Do we have to look at economic development? Absolutely. And that's why we want to be a part of the county. And that's why I'm still chewing on it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Freeman, and all the commissioners. And now I'm going to speak I've taken the lead in a lot of things since as being the chair, or just being a plain old commissioner, is to govern and go after those dollars from an economic development focus. There is money in the state budget, there is money in the federal budget that we can tap into to assist us in developing this land. I have been on the phone, on Zoom, and in person, asking our elected state and federal officials to help Gates County because we have been left out of the discussion as others have moved forward with developing their counties. We don't have a plan. We didn't have any land to even show anyone. We have partners now, potential partners in high places that are going to help us with an economic developer. That's the ask that we've been asking on behalf of Gates County through the commissioners. Some of you may know and some of you may not, but you know that Reginald Spate, who served as Congress Butterfield's regional director in this area, he is now with the USDA as the state director of rural development. We have a friend now in Raleigh that understands Gates County. We have friends now that understand that Gates County has been neglected, and some of it's our own fault because we didn't ask. And now we have an opportunity to say, we have a project. When I talk to them, well, what you gonna do with an economic developer? What are you trying to develop? We didn't have anything. But lately, when we were looking at this land, I can say, hopefully we have a project. We have 145 acres of land right on the main highway, right across, right in the middle of the county, right down the street from Merchant's Mill Pond that has about 200,000 visitors every year. We have a strategic plan that I'm getting ready to release. I just received it I think it was last week. The company's been working on it ever since January. That was one of the focus that I had because you have to have a plan. They're not going to give you money just because you're Gates County. You have to tie it to a project that would impact the citizens. Gates County had a plan in 2011. They had a study done, was 2 studies done. When you look at that, nothing was done with it. It stayed on the shelf. We are being adversely impacted because we don't have a plan. We didn't have any land that the county owns to bring anything here. All the property is privately owned. The prime property is privately owned. And you cannot make people sell you their property. If I'm wrong, then someone tell me. We are working day and night. I was at the regional summit at K.E. White with Commissioner Hoffler last Thursday, all day long, listening to the Michelle Sanders, who is the Secretary of Commerce, listening to the regional outlook for this county with the other 9 counties. And they incorporated 21 counties because that's the region they're looking at. So when we look at ARC money, we can't use ARC money for broadband right now. We're working on that at the state level. But we do have opportunities to use ARC money, and I heard someone say about our aging water system. You don't replace the whole water system at once. No one does that. There's money, there's grant money, but you have to ask for it. We haven't done a good job of keeping up with our water system and repairs. We're trying to do better. But the persons who have commented, we appreciate that. The persons who are here, we appreciate you. Those who are listening. But the future of Gates County is not now. The future of Gates County is looking forward. Think about 2011, when Gates County had those 2 studies done, and nothing happened. Now we have a new strategic plan. We can take that strategic plan, and I'm going to release it and put it on the website in the next couple of weeks. I just sent it to the commissioners last week after I got it. We've been working every month, once a week, the county manager and myself on Zoom with that company. They came here. You saw them. I had them present. We did not sit in closed session and just to sit there. We talked about all the things that you brought up. The future of Gates County is either now or when. The funds that you see now that they say is accessible will not be there for long because other counties have already planned. Other counties are poised to apply. We're trying to get there. We're just trying to get there. But if the citizens of Gates County, and I'm talking about majority of the citizens, so everybody is not, up at the podium, and I appreciate that. The ones that spoke, yes. But I cannot believe in my heart, and I've lived here all my life, but worked outside the county, so I don't know people. If you notice when the former Sheriff Well spoke to everybody, he didn't speak to me, because he don't know me, and I don't know him, I know who he is. That's okay. What I'm saying is, we either move now while the funding is available, or we wait down the road when there's no funding available. Billions of dollars is not a lot of money when everybody's applying for it. Billions of dollars is not a lot of money when you don't have the infrastructure to bring it here. We've got to get the infrastructure here, and that includes staffing, such as an economic developer. We have asked for an economic developer to help us in Gates County, so we don't have to take money and pay all of the money. We have to have matching dollars sometimes. Gates County don't want to match anything. I'm just being blunt. You cannot continue, no, you can do anything you want. You should not continue to think that you can keep your hands closed and things are going to come to you. Closed hands get nothing. So the future of Gates County is now. Are we perfect? No. Are we doing what we can with what we have? Yes. Will we do any harm intentionally? No. We will not. We have no project to tie to all this accessible money and funding that the state and the federal government is getting ready to dump on us. You heard Kim Outland talk about those meetings that she go to. It's not as easy as we think. You just can't write a check, I want $4 million. That's not how it works. You have to have a project. We have no project. So yes, it was unanimous back there in that closed session, all those nights when people wondered what we were doing back there. We took our time. And this is what we came up with. We hope you support it, and I hope there are more people that understand the urgency of now, because that's what it is, the urgency of now. And that's all I have to say, Commissioners. There's no more to say. You will see the plan. You got to get it. We got to get the draft plan of what we envision for that person. Yes. And this is the draft plan right here, the strategic plan. I had it copied and gave everybody a copy of it in here. It's in there. Give us time to work. Give us time to work. Trust your elected officials. You can't tell you everything you want to know at the moment. We can't fight, no, not fight. We can't address what people say. We just can't do it. But we use data, information, and research to make the best decision we can. But always in the back of our mind, the citizens of this county, the 11,000 citizens in this county. 11,000. We lost 1,700 citizens during the last census. We're not growing. We're not growing. And let me just say this. When we were shut down and people had to stay put, we didn't lose any money because everybody was spending money in Gates County. Just as soon as everybody could get out, there you go again. The money is leaving again. But why? There are no services here, or you have your favorite store or favorite something. Think about it. If we had the amenities in the stores that we could keep the money here, we could generate what we need to give raises to the first responders. We could fix things that we don't fix because we don't have the funding. You have to take calculated risk. So think about that. When you were locked down in Gates County and other counties were the same way, they didn't lose sales tax. We didn't. And because we didn't, we don't qualify for some of the grants either, because we didn't lose revenue. So it's a two-edged sword. And that's all I have to say.
Unless anyone else wishes to speak.
Now,
Close the public
now,
hearing.
is anyone out there that did not speak, because we've heard those that we had letters written, we had people come to the podium. Is anyone want to come to, yes, sir, come to the podium? Yes, Mr. Kittrell? Before Mr. Kittrell speaks, I want to say something about his father and what he does with the ABC board.
I'm John Taylor Kittrell from Core Peak, and
Go
I've
ahead.
got a lot of notes that I've written down here, and I've changed my mind several times because we really didn't know anything before tonight. But I do want to tell you that I appreciate you not rezoning this property twice. You know, the plan was for it to be commercial and then the multi-family housing. And that's the way it should be, a central location. But that leads into, it's been 14 years. So my question to you is, and I know you said you studied it, and we have to trust you, but what makes you think that you can do better than private business? Typically, government doesn't do better than private business because the motivation for the private business is profit. It's sat there for 14 years, and they've done nothing with it. So I hope you're really confident in what you're thinking. So another thing I had noted down here is about people and the population. Gates County doesn't need people. Gates County needs businesses. People are tax negative. Businesses don't require a lot of additional services, yet they bring in tax revenue. So just because you want something, yeah, I'd love to have a Bojangles too, but just because you want one there doesn't mean they're going to come. They're going to come and do their economic study and all this. Well, I'm going to submit to you that I thought about this a lot with discussions with friends on Facebook, maybe even some of you. I think that Gates County is a donut, and the center of the county for economic development is the whole. I think the two sweet spots for future development are 158 and 13, the Tar Heel area. You've already got natural gas there. I think the other one is 32 and 158. Of course, there, you don't know what DOT is going to end up doing with the road. Who knows when that'll be, 20, 30, 50 years from now. Anyway, I'm going to close with a comment that I hear my good friend Carol Ward use a lot. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Thank you.
Very well.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
New phrase.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, excuse me.
Good evening, my name is Amy Ward and I reside in Sunbury. So thank you for the information that you presented tonight. There, as always, there are tons of rumors that float around with very little information that's presented to the public. I greatly appreciate that you as the elected officials of this county want to represent the citizens because that's what you're here to do. It's not about you, it is not about me, it's about us as a collective. Provide us with the information. What I would ask is that you please don't go amongst yourselves and create the decision and make the vote on your own. Please listen to the people and what we have to say because that's what you're here to do. What we would like is for you to present us with the plans, as you mentioned. Let us have an opportunity to study those and learn from those. Then we can give you our honest feedback based on the correct information, which to this point hasn't been presented to us. Thank you.
Very well.
Yes, ma'am. State your name.
Good evening. I'm Crystal Saunders, a 40-year resident of Gates County. And a few years back, I participated on the CAMA Land Grant Committee. And one of the things that we were looking at is all the resources and the reasons why Gates County hasn't developed, why businesses don't come here. And one of our downfalls is the fact that we're not near a major interstate. However, we are home of the Merchants Mill Pond. And one of the things that they said back in 2017 was, we need to develop this mill pond. You know, I work in Tarboro now. I've taught college, community college, public school, And one thing that I can say is Merchants Mill Pond, and people say, oh, I've been through that county, but y'all ain't got nothing to eat, okay? And to have people to come to Gates County to see the Merchants Mill Pond, why they want to go out there and play with the alligators, I don't know, because I'm not going, okay? But they do, and it's beautiful out there. And one of the things that came out of that meeting was that we need to develop that. Well, if we develop that, guess what? I'm still need somewhere to eat. I like to eat. Other people like to eat. Other people like to get ice cream, you know, and to only have, well, it's not to even have a grocery store. And I understand, you know, there is concern, and I keep hearing this statement about land won't perk. That little statement rubs me the wrong way, because I remember when I purchased my house, and it was a foreclosed home. However, the house was built on the property without a septic tank. When I went to the health department and asked about the permit, I was told the land won't perk. And I'm thinking, now, I got a couple of degrees at this point. How did the house get built here? So then I called the regional director in Elizabeth City, Mr. Hollowell. Mr. Hollowell said, huh? He came down here to my property the very next day. He said, I want to see this. He says, let me tell you something. There's no land in northeastern North Carolina that will not perk. However, you may have to make some adjustments to your sewer system. He said, at the time I was Miss Sharp, he said, Miss Sharp, you will get your septic system. It will not be the $15,000 system. He says, you're going to have 5 100-foot lines in your backyard. Now, granted, because of the way the property was done, I can't build directly behind my house, but I've never had a problem. And so I hear all this. And as an educator who's been at community colleges that were suffering low enrollment and all that, and different presidents, people don't like change. I get it. And it is hard. But one of the things I've learned over my 21 years is I may not like the change. However, if I'm presented the information and I can understand the why, and I may still not like it because it's uncomfortable. I may have to do something different. But I figure, you know, you all said you have this strategic plan. Strategic plans work. They work. But you have to work the plan also. They work. And if we as residents see this, I'm hoping and praying that other residents will understand that, yes, we need something else in here. I'm 51 years old. I drive Tarboro every day. Guess what? I'm tired of driving Tarboro. I get tired in the middle of the night when I get hungry at 9:30. I'm thinking, I ain't got nowhere to go get me nothing to eat from. I gotta cook. No, I don't have to cook for anybody. It's just me. And so these things are necessary, you know, and I'm hoping that we can begin to grow. We can market Merchants Mill Pond. That Martin County had one of the same issues. And what did they do? They started out with their equestrian program with them horses. People come miles, and they got 1 or 2 hotels. Well, back then they had 1 or 2 hotels. But people would come for them horses and the beauty of it and the programs and all of that. And so that's what I'm hoping that we get here with our Merchants Mill Pond. But if we bring the people, we're going to have somewhere for them to stay. We're going to have somewhere for them to eat. We're going to have somewhere close by where they can get reasonable gas and groceries and supplies and all of that. So I just want to share that. And I thank you all.
Well
I
said.
thank you. And I do ask questions from my county commissioners, so thank you.
Well said. And Madam Chairman, may I say something in response to, in addition to what she was saying, about like Mr. Hollowell? There are options. Look for those options. They're going to give us options. And whatever those options are, we're going to look at it, and we're going to study them. For the best for the county, best for you, best for the citizens. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. State your name and where you're from.
Hi, I'm Reba Green Holly, Gates County, former Gates County Cooperative Extension Service. I've been up here before dealing with broadband with you all in my new career, but I'm here to comment on some of the things you all are trying to do as commissioners. I came here about almost 40 years ago now, and I'm not from this area. And when I came here, I vowed to leave within 1 year because it was nothing here except for my job. So every weekend, come Friday at 5 o'clock, I was in my car heading back to Greensboro, where I could go out to eat, I could go socialize, I could be with my friends, and then I'd come back, either wait and get up early Monday morning to drive back here for work. And this went on for the longest time until I got married and had kids, and of course I couldn't be as free running around. But since I've been here, I can probably say, what do we have new since I've been here in Gates County? Dollar General, Dollar General, Family Dollar, Dollar General. And that's in 40 years. And as I moved around as a county extension director, I would be at meetings and things where they were talking about economic development and people at the table that were trying to figure out how they could get funds to come to their county. I would be the only one there from Gates County. I'm finally glad to see our commissioners are out there interacting with people who can help bring resources here to the county. Myself, just watching, we have missed out on so many opportunities because we either were not at the table or we are like Dr. Riddick said, we had our fists closed because if an opportunity came, if it didn't come 100% free, we didn't want to put a dime up against it so we could get those funds to bring here to the county. And we have got to understand that we are not going to get anything with a closed fist, and we have to have skin in the game now. It is no more get a grant and it's 100% funded. You have to have skin in the game for whatever it is you're going to do. You have to be out there in the front end, seeing what's coming, to be prepared so that you can apply for that grant. The grant comes. An opportunity is not an opportunity if you haven't prepared yourself to take hold of that opportunity. So I don't care how many dollars come down from Raleigh or the feds. If Gates County is not preparing itself so it can get those funds, they're going to go right by to the next county or to whoever else is ready to come in and say, we got our act together, we just need to fix this proposal and submit it. Because when it's time to submit the proposal, you don't have time to get your act together. It's over and done. You got a couple of weeks to write that grant and then it's over and done. You don't have a couple of weeks to run around trying to get your partners, get at the table, talk about what you want to do, think about it. In all the years that I wrote grants and brought money into this county, it was because the network that was set up, we knew what we wanted as different agencies partnering. So when the money came, I'd make that phone call the schools. Look, there's some funds available to do this. Remember we talked about this and we needed this to do this. Do you want to apply? Yes, good. Apply for it, we get the money because we had our act together on the front end of getting ready for those funds. We have the meal pond here that brings in thousands of people and they have nowhere to spend their money. They don't even have a store they really can go to get camping supplies. That's why the meal pond decided to start selling them in their lobby because they had nowhere to go to get charcoal or anything. We have a ski function that brings people here that is on a national level. Where do they go to spend their money? It's not here. They can't even get a room here to spend their money on. They're staying in all the neighboring counties are getting their dollars because we don't have anywhere for them to stay here and very limited food options. So we do need to have a plan for us to have development and economic development. And sad to say, I've been at meetings where former county managers have been at, and it's been with the economic development people there. And our county manager, not the one now, has said, well, I don't have time to do economic development. And I'm sitting there embarrassed embarrassed because that came out of a county official's mouth that is supposed to be found in business for our county. Another thing is the strategic plan that Dr. Althea Riddick talked about. I was the one who helped bring NC State here to develop Growing Gates to give the county an opportunity to plan for some economic development, and it was around natural resources. And that is the plan that got done, that sat on the desk and collected dust. And the county didn't even have to pay for it. I wrote the grant that paid for the people to come here and do it. And I was so outdone about that because it was spelled out what you could do to make people come to Gates County to spend money on natural resources. So I'm saying all of that is because if we want to be here and be viable as a county, we have got to grow. We have got to stop thinking about not spending a dime on anything, and we've got to plan and move forward so that we can have a place for our kids. Our kids are not coming back to Gates County unless they have a family business they're going to run. Mine aren't coming back, and if we want young people to come back, they got to have what they want for their amenities, and it's nothing here. They can't even get a Starbucks coffee here. So, you know, if you want people to come, you've got to have the things that they want now, not the things in the past. And don't get me wrong, I don't want Gates County to become a big urban environment. It doesn't have to be that. But it has to have the amenities and the things that people want to be able to live. I hate having to get in my car and ride 30 minutes to go to a major grocery store to get decent food. I hate that. Everything I generally need, I'm having to go away. Or when I go visit people in the city, they're like, why are you running all around? I say, because this store's here. I got to get what stuff I got to get because it's not in Gates County. So I say that. And then I think the other thing that I wanted to say was when she talked about land perking. The traditional way, you do have land in Gates County that won't perk. But if you go down the road to Plymouth to NC State Research Center, you will see all the alternative perking methods you can use to make land perk and be suitable for what you need. So there are ways to make any land perk in Gates County. You just might not use the traditional way of making it perk. And one of the last things that I'm going to say is when I became county extension director, I was the first black female to hold that position. And there was opposition in the county for that. And at the end of the day, when I did get the position, my comment that I'm going to end with is, without change, there's stagnation and then death.
Thank you, Ruth. Well said.
Okay.
Madam Chair, you know, I used the word communication earlier, and I just want the public to know that you and the county manager have set for us to have a retreat to talk about economic development, as well as 2 or 3 other things. I mean, I think we're going to have 4, maybe 5 topics. It's going to be a 2-day retreat, and that's in November. So I just want to communicate that.
Yes, we are scheduling a retreat. I think it's November the 7th and 8th, where we will be looking at this plan that we just received last week and drawing up some goals and objectives that we can follow as a county, and the county manager can look at and say, okay, what are the objectives under these goals? If you don't have a plan, you're planning to fail. And so it may be taking a long time for us to get there, but we didn't get here overnight either. Where we are now, it took years to get there, and we don't have things in place. We're trying to do it methodically, not just ad hoc, not just throwing something out. We want to make sure that it's grounded in a plan that's been vetted. So we just ask that you be patient with the county commissioners. We've heard a lot tonight, and I'm going to ask for a motion to close public hearing with no further comment.
But before, I think I saw another hand.
Another
or two.
hand, did I see?
What, that came up, was it someone else?
Okay,
You're seeing things, right?
No, it was, I know who it was.
all right, well, I'll repeat my question. Motion to close public hearing with no further comments.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to close public hearing in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. I have in my notes, what is the pleasure of the board? What action, if any, are on the floor?
That we continue, Madam Chairman, I'd like to say that we continue our study and continue to listen to our public, to our citizens, to our constituents, on moving forward.
So what is your motion?
That I believe I made a motion, didn't I not? I said that we continue on with our study. The motion is we continue on with our study for economic development.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and second that we continue on with the study.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Our retreat, I think we should come out of our retreat with our opinion on moving forward. Madam Chair, just communicating that to the public. So that definitely would need, at this point, would need to be one of our topics. And encourage the emails, pro and con, to continue to come to our clerk so that we can talk about those when we're in that retreat.
Okay, it's been moved and second with discussion about the aforementioned retreat on November the 7th and 8th. And I believe our next regular meeting is November the 17th. So that's about a week after we get out of our retreat. And one of the topics is economic development, so we can put this on.
I'll call the vote.
Vote has been called. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Madam Clerk, did you get that? I would like to say, as we close this public hearing and go into another one, that we have your comments, and they've been recorded. We have your written comments. They will be retained. I hope that the citizens in this county, all 11,000 of them, not counting children, children can't vote, they don't have anything to do with it. Let's say 9,000 people, I don't know, that will speak up, and we have more voices, pros and cons. We heard the pros and cons tonight, we appreciate that. But it's going to be a mechanism where you can put in your comments. We'll look at how we're going to do that so that, we have a theme, like, pros, cons, whatever. But we'll work that out with the county manager and the board clerk to the board, so that we can be more together when we go to the retreat and see what's going on, what's being said. But we are continuing to work. I just ask that the citizens let us work. Just let us work. We do no harm, but let us work. And we value what you say. And I want to take privilege to say this. It doesn't help when you call us and be ugly. It doesn't help when you put it in writing, calling names. It doesn't help. I'm just saying. Okay, this hearing is closed. Have we closed it? All right. Second public hearing. Water, sewer, billing, and fee ordinance. Motion to open public hearing for the water, sewer, billing, and fee ordinance.
So moved.
Second. Do I have a second?
Yes, ma'am, second.
All in favor? Okay, public hearing for the water sewer billing and fee ordinance is open. We have a staff present, Ms. Diane Hendricks.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm presenting to you a portion of the budget ordinance that's already been approved for this fiscal year. And now there are changes being made regarding the water billing and sewer billing. And these are the changes that you've already been aware of. But the basic rate, since it's going to be at every other month billing, will go from $12 to $24. The 10% late fees will no longer be charged. The service fee will increase from $40 to $60. The reconnect fee will increase from $40 to $60. There was a home inspection fee that was on our fee schedule but was not added to this fee schedule in our software, but not added to the fees and fine schedule. And that is the home inspection fee, which is when water is to be turned on for a weekend or a few days when realtors want to show the home. That's also going to increase to $60. The basic sewer rate, excuse me, which is double the water fee, will go from $24 to $48, and the late fee for the sewer will no longer be charged.
Are there any other?
The homeowner fee isn't part of this. The increase in the homeowner fee is not part of this ordinance.
The increase of the homeowner fee?
That's correct. That had not been discussed previously at the board meeting when they authorized moving ahead with this ordinance. And so therefore, since it had not been previously discussed by the board, it was not contained in this ordinance. That doesn't mean that it can't come back to you at a later date, should you wish to increase the fee. But you had not discussed that. That had not been part of the discussion. The reconnection fee had, but the homeowner's fee had not been discussed by the board when you authorized moving ahead with advertisement of a ordinance amendment.
So the homeowner's fee?
You're talking the home inspection fee?
I'm sorry, the home inspection fee.
Home inspection, okay, home inspection fee, home inspection fee was not part of the discussion. Okay.
And what was the fee for that?
It was the same fee that was charged for a reconnect fee, which was $40 to go turn the water on.
Okay, and the home inspection fee is, when is that done?
That's for short term. If
Okay,
you're going to have a
but real
home showing
estate.
for like a weekend, the water has to be turned off and then quickly gone back out there and turned back off again, because no one's living in the home.
What would you advise, County Manager, on that issue? Would it be eliminated from the ordinance at this time, or?
It's not part of the ordinance.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Since it was not advertised for consideration and is not part of the ordinance, the board is not able to take action on that. You can only take action on what was actually advertised and what's presented for you. But if the board does wish to look at wanting to raise that fee, that can be advertised and come back in an ordinance again.
It would be easier for us, we've already paid the fee to advertise it. It'd be easier for us just to move forward and let that not be any change, let it remain at $40.
Yeah, and I'm sure, we don't have that many,
home
do we?
inspection fee for that?
Previously $40, the same as the reconnection fee.
So if we don't address that.
Same as the service fee.
Yes.
Could not that homeowner inspection, could that not be defined or considered a service fee?
We classify the service fee because of verbiage. Service fee is when there is a non-payment, and they're going out to disconnect. And we call it a service fee, because if it's a disconnect fee at the time they go out, they cannot charge that fee until they actually get there and go on site and disconnect it. But it could be, we could call that a service fee, but it's just the way it is in our chart of accounts right now. It's a reconnection. It's a home inspection.
Right now, it's $40, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, can't we just keep it at $40 the rest of the year? We do a new fee thing when we do the budget in June or July, instead of having to re-advertise. And just charge $40. I can't imagine how many we have during the year. Is it a lot?
Sometimes it's busy when the realtors own property, and they're just going to show it. They've got someone coming in to view the house, and like I say, it's very short term.
Yeah, so it's not 100 times during the year. Okay. I say just keep it as it is this year, change it. Next year, we want to not have to advertise.
That's a good suggestion.
Because if you can just make it part of your budget advertisement process.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Service, when we do the budget fees.
Do we need direction on that? Do we need motion on that?
This is an ordinance, yes, it does require a motion and an affirmative vote to pass. If not, these changes will not take effect.
Okay. Well, I'm referring to, she's stated that for the audience. It's been stated that it's going to be changed. Do we need to make a motion to strike that from her presentation?
No,
Okay.
because what prevails here is what was advertised in the newspaper, what sections were advertised for change, and the actual written ordinance itself.
Okay, all right, I'm good.
I make a motion to, are we? Okay, I could make a motion that we accept the ordinance as printed in the newspaper.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
Madam Chairman, discussion-wise, I would like to bring to our attention, if you will, because I know we've all heard now, I would say several years, this is only my second term, and I want to say when Reba was up here, I was not here in 2011, so don't blame that on me.
Neither was I, anyway.
Well, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but I'll speak for me. But the water bill and the water billing, ever since I've been sitting up here as representing the citizens, have always been an issue of some sort all along throughout the year.
This is not the discussion we need to have. You have that, and when you get the new business.
Yeah, okay, we can wait for that.
Yeah, just wait for that.
Well, I just wanted to say that.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Oh, so what was, we had a motion and a second?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. I need a motion to close public hearing with no further comment.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that we close public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. We have no old business. For new business, we have A.
All business ban.
We don't have any old business.
Just the flyer.
Okay.
You got a flyer?
Just abandon NC workshop.
There you go.
Fly.
It's the digital zone.
Yes.
It's the workshops that we're running for the senior citizens starting this Saturday. I think it's in the newspaper today. Cal Bryant ran it, we sent it to him, and you can read it for yourself. But we're starting on Saturday, and we've got workshops scheduled just about every Saturday. The schedule is in the newspaper, but it's October the 23rd, November the 6th, November the 20th, December the 4th, and December the 18th. They're being held at the Central Middle School, and they're being held from 10 to 11:30 on the designated Saturdays. And we want people to pre-register, but if you don't, if you give us some time, because we didn't get this, the first one says that the deadline was the 18th, and we just got it in the paper today, so we'll still hold it open. And we need the senior citizens to get the word to sign up for these workshops because we want to continue these workshops. They're different classes. This one is online communication, email basics, and strong password. That's Saturday. And so we're hoping that the word will get out and we have good attendance for these workshops, the digital zone. Okay? Anything else for the public? Now, okay. I see request for public hearing, Gates County Personnel Ordinance. Mr. County Manager.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What I have for you is a memorandum, and it does pertain to the county's personnel ordinance. The county right now does operate under a county personnel ordinance. That ordinance was adopted in 2006, and it has been amended several times since then. In March 2018, the Management and Personnel Services Company, better known and commonly referred to as the MAPS Group, was hired by Gates County and was presented a classification and pay study with personnel policy recommendations. The preparation of the personnel study was initiated by this board, and it was a coordinated approach to personnel issues. The study was largely comprised of three major elements, and one was looking at the pay grade and the classification plan that the county had in place. It also examined the current employee job descriptions and their titles, and it also proposed a new and updated personnel policy document. The Board of Commissioners, while having reviewed the elements of this comprehensive study, have not taken a final action on all of its components. And this memo is specifically about the personnel policy component that was recommended by the MAPS group. The MAPS groups did recommend the presented personnel policy replace the proposed personnel ordinance. They found that a policy as opposed to an ordinance would be more efficient and effective in terms of its being administered. Just trying to bring an issue to closure, which goes back to 2018. You do have this draft policy, and I could not new personnel policy, and I could not see where the board had taken a final decision or action on that. Should the board wish to bring closure to that, that would actually require at least one action, and depending on the first action, a second action. First would be if you wish to consider moving from the current personnel ordinance you have and adopting the proposed personnel policy, either as it's presented, or also you have the ability to adopt that policy with changes. You would have to have an actual public hearing on that, because this is what the county has is a personnel ordinance, and with it having the status of an ordinance, you would have to have a public hearing before you could take any actions on its status. So, and by talking about status, should you decide after your deliberations that you would want to move from the current ordinance to the proposed policy, you would have fulfilled your procedural requirement by having a public hearing on that, and that would allow you the opportunity to actually rescind the ordinance, because being in an ordinance format, that would be the action that would be taken. Adopting the proposed personnel policy, whether as presented or with changes as the board may see proper, since that would have the status of a policy, that could be adopted by a resolution of the governing body. I would recommend that you would want to have both of those ready at the same meeting, because you don't want to leave yourself with a gap where you would not have any policy in place. So I would recommend, if you wanted to proceed with this, is that there first have to be an advertisement for the proposed consideration of rescinding the current ordinance to be replaced with the policy that's been proposed. And for that, after the advertisement was done, the process would be you would conduct and close your public hearing on the ordinance. You would then deliberate whether you wish to rescind it or to keep it. If you decide to keep it, you're done. Should you take an action that you prefer the policy or the policy with proposed changes, then your action would be to rescind the ordinance, which you would be able to do since you fulfilled your procedural requirement to do so. And in that packet, I would have prepared a resolution that the board could take action on to adopt the personnel policy. Because once again, I'd say that should you come to the conclusion of rescinding the ordinance, you don't want to leave yourself out there with no personnel guidelines, policies, or what have you. So I bring this to your attention. It's strictly at your discretion and pleasure. If you want to formally consider the policy that was proposed and recommended by the MAPS group, if you do, I think that brings final closure to that element of the study. If you're happy to, continue with your current ordinance, no action would be required of you tonight. Okay. But if you wish to proceed, I'd require a motion for authorization to advertise public hearing concerning the ordinance.
Madam Chairman, as I had reviewed this again, and I know we went over the MAPS thing several times, I even see more problems in it than I saw before. Dealing with, and a question I have, are the county employees, are they aware of this? Have they seen this, or has it been passed out to them, or they're aware for any questions or from the county manager?
I mean, dating back to 2018, I don't know how this may have been made. It's a public document, but right. I don't know how it may have been actually transmitted to or made available to the employees.
Yeah, and I see the memorandum was dated October 14th. Consideration proposed personnel policy. And that's why I just feel like all county employees should have an opportunity to review this document and either make some suggestions either to the county manager or to us as commissioners, since we have to act on it.
I recall about three areas that we were stuck on.
I think it was several.
Yeah, and Ray said there might have been, you might have.
And it may be. And I see that the responsibility is have we appointed a human resources officer?
I think we probably need to go back and reread it, because we all read it at one time a few years ago and discussed it. There were some problems, and it kind of just was left out there. I will say that on numerous boards that I am on, most of them do have personnel policies. They do not have personnel ordinances because of changing.
Right.
I think that would be a good idea, to change it from an ordinance to a policy. Whether this is the right one, I'm not saying, because
and that's why I made the note. You had a proposed policy, but that doesn't mean you have to adopt it exactly as it's been proposed to you. Like you're saying, if there are elements of it you find problematic that you want to amend or change, take out, maybe add something that isn't there. Those are all things that you're free to do. You can adopt the policy or adopt the policy with whatever changes that you think are needed and proper.
And it is a public document. I too would be in favor of the personnel policy rather than an ordinance. In looking at it again a little bit, I would like, it's a big document, and there's a lot of it that we do agree with. I think there'll be maybe 5 items of concern, and...
I've kind of added to it since then, but...
Oh, have you? Okay. But going back to the retreat, I wouldn't want, we've got some busy things planned for the retreat. I wouldn't want to spend a day, first day or the second day, on this document. I'd rather us look at it, highlight it, and email the county manager, page number so-and-so, this issue, and then us address it.
What I'm hearing is that we need to take a look at a deep dive into the current policy that the MAPS group was commissioned to develop, and we never passed it. The motion on the floor is to set a public hearing for November the 17th for Gates County Personnel Ordinance. That would give us time, Commissioner Owens, to go through it. This is October the 20th, and we already have seen it before. I have, and I know we have some questions, and they'll give us time to work with the county manager on those questions, to answer them. But the motion, I think I heard from the county manager, was to set a we have to have a public hearing. Either way, we got to have a public hearing. To set a public hearing, and like I said, the next meeting we have is November the 17th.
We could do that, and that's why I was thinking to give our county employees an opportunity to look at it, study it. Should we, Madam Chairman, have the county manager make copies of that available for the county employees to come by his office, and have an opportunity to meet him too? Some have not met him yet.
Is this public document on the website? I don't know.
I don't believe, because this is a draft policy, and I wouldn't really want it on there, but I mean, we can place it on there, if it's going to be something that may be looked at. Because I'd hate for somebody to go to the website and look at this and not actually understand that they were looking at a
And
draft.
another suggestion could be is that it be given to the directors of the departments, and they could hand it out to the employees, or make it available, and they could come by and deliver it to you. That way we'll have an opportunity to meet you, because we keep hearing that no one's met you. Some of the county employees, they had an opportunity to meet and greet, but still there's some that complain, or at least say that they've never met the county manager.
Yeah, I would check with the clerk to see, because it is a rather large document, and it's not uncommon that if it can be sent as a document, employees who do have computer access, they can be sent directly a copy of it, and then with instructions to department heads for your employees, who do not have a computer, that they be provided a copy or access to it.
Okay. So we still have a motion on the floor. After all this discussion, any more discussion?
No, ma'am. I'll second that motion. We'll have a public hearing, if that's still a motion.
Somebody made the motion.
Oh, I'll make a motion that we do have a public hearing involving the personnel ordinance / policy on 17 November.
I second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that we have, for advertising, have a public hearing for the Gates County Personnel Ordinance / personnel policy.
And just so it's clear, clear that, that public hearing notice would read that the purpose of the public hearing would be for the possible rescinding of the personnel ordinance with a proposed replacement with a personnel policy.
Okay.
I just want to make sure everyone's clear what that public hearing and notice would state.
You have that, Madam Clerk? Yes. Okay. It's been properly motioned and second that we have a public hearing as for mission. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. No nays? All right. Requiring appointments, notification of future appointments. We have the Gates Emergency Medical Services Board. Action requested, motion to approve or disapprove reappointment of Stephen Stallings to the Gates Emergency Medical Service Board to serve a 3-year term.
I make a motion that we'll reappoint Stephen Stallings.
And I'll second that motion, Madam Chairman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Gates, Gates Jury Commission, action requested, motion to approve, disapprove, reappointment of Fannie Langston to the Gates County Jury Commission to serve a 2-year term.
I'll make that motion, Madam Chairman, that we reappoint.
Second.
Been properly moved in second that we accept the appointment of Fannie Langston to the Gates County Jury Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Next is the Gates County Joint Community Advisory Committee. Action requested, motion to approve, disapprove, reappointment of Loretta Whitehurst to the Gates County Joint Community Advisory Committee to serve a 2-year term.
So moved on the reappointment, ma'am.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
And finally, the advisory board vacancies. We have vacancies on Gates County ADC Board, Gates Firefighters Relief Fund appointee, Gates Volunteer Agriculture District Advisory Board. So before us, Commissioners, is information on each one of those board vacancies, and the Commissioners need to seek getting the board vacancy filled.
Yes, currently we do not have applications on file to fill vacancies, so it's I guess you're saying they'll cut them, beat the bushes to try to find somebody who will serve.
May I ask a question? Someone approached me about this voluntary ag district and said they had had put in an application. You do not have one?
I was hunting for that because I was pretty I had seen that, and I was talking to the clerk. I was trying to find it, but I knew I had seen one, and it was like 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, it was 3 or 4 months, but they approached me.
Do you know the person's name?
Yes.
Okay.
I will contact the person. Because when I saw that, I was, that person approached me and.
Yeah, because.
So, okay.
Good.
All right. So we need to encourage applicants for the Gates County ABC Board, the Gates Firefighters Relief Fund appointee, and Gates Volunteer Agriculture District Advisory Board.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
I
right.
guess I'd just like to add that, I would encourage any citizens who wish to participate or be a part of the local government to look at the different boards, committees that we have, and if any of them do strike their interest, to please fill out an application, because we really do need to find people to help serve on these committees.
And different boards have different requirements. The Ag Board has to have a person that is in farming, except for one. Four have to be farmers and one non-farmer, I believe.
At large.
So,
All right. Update, on the agenda is update the GITS drug and alcohol testing policy. GITS Director Patrice Lassiter.
I made a motion that we approve the.
Wait till you get up here.
What? I make a motion that.
No.
Oh,
Patrice.
come on. I didn't see you back there. I apologize. I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, if you don't have any questions.
I didn't have any questions, but
Did anything change on the drug policy or stuff? So-
There are a few things that changed.
yeah.
Actually, the first thing that changed was like on page 8, and it talks about prohibited substances, and it just talks about the fact that that marijuana, even though it's legal in certain places and you could have went certain places, but marijuana in your system for our policy is still illegal.
Okay, and also on page 5, isn't it, you took out the prohibited drugs at levels above the minimum threshold?
Yes, it's still the same thing, but it just tells you what the changes are in 49 CFR Part 40.
And basically zero tolerance, am I correct?
It's not zero tolerance. They have a certain level of threshold for each drug that FTA has defined, and it changes from time to time, and that's why I think they changed it from saying that to saying what that policy states.
Okay.
Okay, also, we talked about, they added, however, the use of
substances which carries a warning label that indicates that mental functioning or motor skills or judgment may be adversely affected, must be reported to the supervisor, and the employee is required to provide a written release from his or her doctor and pharmacist indicating that the employee can perform his or her safety-sensitive functions. They added that. Section F for prohibited conduct, illegal use of drugs listed in the policy and is defined in 49 CFR Part 40 as amended is prohibited at all times. All covered employees are prohibited from reporting for duty or remaining on duty if they have used a prohibited substance as defined in 49 CFR Part 40. So that part is amended. In Section F, again, prohibited conduct, it says the covered employee will subsequently be relieved of his or her own-call responsibilities and subject to discipline for not fulfilling his or her own-call responsibilities. Let's see. Okay, on page 11, I think it added that that the county had, under the county's authority, it says under Gates County and the Regional Transportation System, but that is the county's authority. A non-DOT alcohol test can be performed at any time a covered employee is on duty. That's actually because we do DOT alcohol tests, but if you want to, if the county had a policy, they could do it outside of that. It would just have to be a federal motor carrier alcohol test.
Don't do drugs, and if you do, don't get on a Getz bus. Is that what I'm hearing?
Don't work for Getz.
Does that adversely affect insurance? Do you see that in your policy?
Well, we pretty much have a zero tolerance.
Zero tolerance,
So,
that's where I was.
if you are test positive for a drug or alcohol test, then you are terminated. We just have to refer you to a substance abuse professional or that sort. We've only had that happen, I think, once we started or whatever. The biggest thing with the policy is that people have to understand that once the process starts, you cannot stop it, no matter what. So we do tell the staff that if they have things to do outside of work afterwards, to let us know, because if I call you and I tell you that you have to come to a drug and alcohol test and your mom is sick or you have a plane to catch, it's still considered a positive test because you refuse to go through the process. So we do training and stuff on that types of things. And that's the biggest information from it.
Is that primarily a urine test?
Yes.
So
We do
they
a
could,
specimen test.
right,
So that's, I guess, kind of difference. They do a test that they put part of one vial and part of the other. If you test positive, then you can ask to retest the split. It's supposed to be at your cost, and that's one of the things that changed, that they say that we will still do it, but we will pursue you for that cost.
do you know if anybody watches them take that test? Observes it? Anybody watches with eyes?
If something happens and you had a diluted specimen or something of that, then we would have to have someone to observe that. Would be someone outside of us. They don't allow us to do it.
Who determines the test date?
The test day, I do.
Okay.
I do for everyone except for myself.
Okay.
And I actually am in the pool because it's not generally required for directors, but they have a policy that if you're not in the pool, I couldn't even drive the vehicle to get service. So I've kept myself in the pool for a period of time. So if I'm called, what they'll do is they'll call me and say, Patricia, you have to go now.
Right.
So, but I decide with the drug alcohol testing, you have to do it different times of the quarter, different times of the day, different months in the quarter, different days of the week. So it just depends.
No rhyme or reason.
Yeah. But I don't choose the person is chosen by the company that we employ, that we contract with.
Okay.
The other major change that is here is that we that you had to have, refer them, if someone tests positive to, we had one substance abuse professional. The policy is now changed to you have to have 2. I left 3 in here because we have so many problems with keeping people staying in this area, so I left all 3 in case something comes about with that.
Okay, any other questions? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the update Gates drug and alcohol testing policy.
So
So-
moved.
Second?
We've been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank
I did
you.
want to share that with this policy change, it is actually a part of the SSP plan. So when the county manager signs off on the policy, he will also have to sign off on this is a change from that policy because this is a part of that policy.
Okay, thank you, Patrice.
Thank you.
She did say policy too, didn't she? You know, I noted that she used the word policy.
Yes. Now we amended the agenda to have a discussion amongst the commissioners on this prepayment, advance payment. So this is going to be a discussion.
Okay.
All right, who wants to? County manager?
Yes, in a memorandum of October 8th of this year, I instructed the customer services to cease with the intaking of prepayments for water and sewer bills, and that was to take effect immediately. The short answer on that is that advance payment fees, fines, or other monies owed the county is not expressly allowed or approved in the Gates County fees and fine schedule. And that is adopted each year as part of your county budget ordinance. So this is an ordinance that we're dealing with. I researched and could not find where, and I came across this basically looking as I became involved in the other situation that we just had the public hearing on about, started becoming more familiar with customer services and its practices and policies and so forth. I could not find where the governing body, and it is the governing body who would control and would have to change the adopted ordinance that governs this. And this is something that dates back many years, but obviously and apparently it was an administrative decision. And an administrative official does not have the ability to change the terms or requirements of an adopted ordinance. And as such, I found that the practice of collecting money in advance, since it had not gone through the proper legal process of being presented to and approved by the governing body, was without legal basis and was prohibited. And so I immediately required it to be discontinued.
Who can change it?
Anybody else?
Y'all speak up. What I'm hearing is that we have a fee schedule, a prepayment or advance payment that was not approved in the fee ordinance by the governing body.
That's correct.
So we are collecting fees, I'm not collecting prepayments, and it was not approved by the governing body. So now we have several citizens who prepay or advance payment. What are the other issues with that? It's in an account.
There is an accounting issue involved with this because until the finance officer had understood that prepayments were taking place, all of these monies that were being taken in and recorded as a revenue to the county. The attorneys that I have spoken to with this, any prepayment could not be deemed a revenue. It actually would be recorded as a liability for the county because the county has received payment for a service or a product that has not yet been delivered. And so unintentionally, these monies have been incorrectly reported and reflected on the county books. And the finance officer, that is something that she's going to be meeting with in terms of the auditor, and they will have to try to ascertain how much money is out there amongst all the accounts that have some type of positive balance or credit because of prepayment. And that's going to have to be identified as a liability. That also affects the current budget we're in, because since all these were collected as a revenue, they were reflected as a revenue that moved forward into the current year. So the projected revenues that went into this current budget that we're in is actually going to be less whatever the total amount of these advanced collected fees are going to be. I also find that there would have to be a number of policy to address potential situations with the prepayment of fees or the receipt of money before services are delivered and taking on this liability.
So the dollars that we're holding that are prepayment, current situation, it's really not a revenue, it's money in holding. We haven't earned the money yet.
Correct. It's a liability
Right.
for the county.
Okay.
It would be recorded as a liability. Another issue that concerned me when I looked into this is that when you collect money in advance, or you're holding money to be applied for a certain purpose. In this case, it's for the payment of and delivery of finished water. In many instances, the issue of interest comes because this money was actually being deposited, just like all our other revenues, just in the county's general account. And so this money was also collecting interest. An attorney I spoke with who deals with a lot of financial matters, he would recommend, he said, he first did not recommend the practice, but he said it's not specifically provided for in the statutes where he can find it. He said you could probably make a defensible argument for it, but you would need to put a number of safeguards and parameters in order for the county to protect itself, and recommended that it would have to be in a separate non-interest bearing account, almost like a trust account, to make sure that we have the money for a specific purpose. So the question of any interest that's generated by those funds, who does that interest belong to? Does it belong to the customer, or does it belong to the county? And so that issue would have to be addressed.
Now, the amount of money that we're talking about currently today in just round figures is how much money that we're holding?
From what I've been told, and I mean, this is not, I don't know if this is an exact number or not, but between active and inactive accounts, it may be somewhere close to $90,000.
May I ask a question? What is it, active, what is the definition of inactive?
And as far as inactive is just as it speaks, is that it is no longer an active account. Ms. Hendricks could explain that.
Somebody sold their house and moved away, and we had and we had
Person
18
died, a
dollars.
person moves, for whatever reasons, I'm sure there's several reasons why, an account can become
And I know-
inactive.
So that's been advantageous to the county.
But no, it could be detrimental because if the inactive account, if we're holding money, there are forms that you're supposed to send up to Raleigh about monies collected, like from insurance companies or things.
Dividends.
That have been not forwarded to the people that,
Accrued interest. would be
accrued
one.
interest.
Yeah.
And before that, the county or the local government is, like, say, you're holding money that's not truly
belong to you.
owed to you. The local government is to make, a diligent and reasonable effort to try to find that person to provide that refund. It's only after those attempts fail that you would go then to the process that you're talking
Unclaimed
about.
money.
Yes, but there's still a responsibility of the local government to first try to track that person
Or if someone
down.
died and it's a estate that,
And that's, some of the examples, and you mentioned that, if a person does die, say they have a $500 balance, that money becomes part of an estate. If a person goes bankrupt and we are holding money, that money can be held and become part of a bankruptcy proceeding. This is why the attorney that he does deal with local government financial matters said that there are many considerations to be taken into account when you are taking money in advance.
How many accounts are we talking about?
The list I was provided shows, from either very small amounts under a dollar to large amounts, not counting leaks, up to, upper $100 of 880 accounts and inactive accounts. I received that list today, and I think it was approximately about 280 on that.
Here's what I am interested in. We want to be citizen friendly. We want to be water customer friendly. True, there's no evidence that this board or the board at the time approved it, but we can approve such a thing. So, and I know, Tim, that some of the things we've talked to you about are efficiencies, streamlining things. Is there, well, I'll just give you an example. John Doe pays in advance for whatever his reason is. And let's say that he writes a check for $100. And I'm just thinking from the efficiency for our customer service department. His water bill is $22. Well, let's say 24, how about that? His water bill is $24. Our system, our computer, he doesn't send in a check, but when his bill goes out, our computer on its own does that subtraction, or do we manually have to go in and do that subtraction? Is that something that Ms. Hendricks needs to answer? Or?
I think she'd probably be more capable of answering.
Do you mind,
the exact
Diane,
process.
answering that question for us? John Doe pays $100, his water bill's $24, so he's not going to send his stub in. He's not going to send his check in because he knows he has extra dollars paid, prepaid. What physically happens? And I'm just thinking efficiencies for you and your department is all I'm thinking about.
Okay, he has already paid the $100 check.
Yep, 2 months ago.
Okay, 2 months ago. When he gets a bill that's, and payment, the amount due has a minus beside of it, and that's the amount of credit he has on hand.
Okay, but is that done manually?
No, that's within our system,
So
our software system.
Okay, so it's not a burden. It's not a burden on the system.
It's been done like that since I've been an employee here.
I mean, but it could have been a burden the whole time, but it hasn't been
No,
what you're saying.
Our software has always compensated
Okay.
for that.
All right, commissioners, here's what I'm hearing. It's not an efficiency issue. It's not a burden on our staff and employees. We don't have an additional person employed specifically for this situation. There are examples that have been noted that are convenient for our customers. We've heard it at the podium. We've heard it in emails. We've got it print here. I would like to see us continue to allow people to pay in advance, prepayment, after we get the nuts and bolts worked out and then vote on it. It's a convenience matter. It's not, it's not a burden to the
I
system.
understand there's rationales for it. I mean, that some people, if you're going to be riding the world cruise or something, you want to pay your water bill and all. I mean, we just have, I mean, I don't think tonight we can come up with an answer to
I agree.
all the questions. So I would think that we could see what we could do. I do believe that Southern Bank has said that they could do automatic withdrawals and it would not cost.
Auto draft at absolutely no cost.
Automatic drafts, and it would not cost the county anything or the person who's doing it anything. They would do it free.
Now, I
And that
agree.
had been a question, because a lot of people have things on automatic draft, and we had been told at one time we couldn't do it, and now they say, yes, we'll can do it, and it doesn't cost the county.
Well, I agree with the automatic draft, but Ms. Hendricks is correct, that it's not a burden.
Yeah.
If I pay my water bill once a year, if I send a check in there for $1,000, it is more efficient for her because the computer is doing the subtraction and the math, and it's one person that doesn't come to the window for a year. So there is efficiency. Oh, I agree. Yeah, I would like for us to consider that, but I think it's just a matter of, I mean, we've talked efficiencies with you, and this is not a burden, you're telling me.
Not a cost to the county.
Not an additional cost to the county. But we
Makes sense.
need to work out the account, and maybe it's we open
It will
a...
change accounting practice.
We open a separate account. And I will say that Tim has already alerted our auditors about this issue so that it's not something that comes up in our audit. We've told them, hey, you may find this in our audit. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's going to be any issue with the
Or any
audit
penalty or
because
anything.
there was no attempt to, deceive or to do something improper.
Right.
So, I don't think it's going to be a negative reflection in the audit. It may, change, some of the.
So with all the audits
the
we've had,
information.
it's never been an issue.
Madam Chair, I'd like to...
But the inactive accounts are a problem.
Yeah, but auditors do a good job.
Oh, yeah, I know, but
in all
I'm
of
just
it,
saying.
so
Madam Chair.
It would have been
not-
fine,
not the right
inactive
whole
or
money.
active or whatever.
Commissioner
I'd
Owens is trying to speak.
I'd like to ask the board if they would agree to charge a county manager with talking with Southern Bank about the automatic draft, adding that as a new possibility, and to research and report back to us what we need to do to cover all the loose ends with our auditors, the taxation part and all of that, and bring that back to us. Is November enough time? I know we've thrown a lot at you.
It's a lot in November, yeah.
Prior to the end of the year.
With a retreat, and
Yeah.
everything gets, yeah.
If we could have that in December,
December, yeah, that would make things a little.
It also
easier.
gives us time, the auditors will be here the end of this month to their annual visit, so they're
we could
coming.
do a Q&A with them.
Yeah, they're coming. I was alerted on Monday about the auditors not catching it, and one of the reasons, let me just say this, one of the reasons they did not catch it is because our finance director, when the balance did not look right, did not balance what she was seeing, she would journal it as a liability. That's why they never caught it. It's important we understand one thing. We never authorized this. That's what the auditor asked. Are you following your policy? There is no policy. So we got to be very mindful what we say. It's no policy. So when the auditor asked that question, the finance director truthfully said, we don't have a policy. Auditors and everybody around this table know it. They audit you by your policies. You don't have a policy and you're doing something without the authorization, that's an issue. So our accounting principles have to be cleaned up. Software, I can't remember the name of the software that you're using, but software is programmed to do what you ask it to do. So just because the software is doing something and fixing it, that's got to be, I've got an issue. I'm not saying anybody did anything intentionally, but auditors audit against our policy. So we just charged what I'm hearing is to charge the county manager to look into this and get it rectified. In the meantime, what do? We keep on the practice and let the auditors see that we, what?
Be truthful with them.
You got to be truthful. You better be truthful.
And we're not circumventing the system in order to do something illegally. If folks are paying the money, we're not asking them to, right? Regulate, and over-regulate. I think I've said that a few times.
Yeah.
Continue to.
So what do we?
Well,
I'm trying to get the.
Well, the county manager
the clerk.
has instructed the customer service what to do. Do you think we should continue with that for the time being?
There is not, in order for cash to be accepted in advance is going to require an amendment to that fee ordinance to provide for that. And until such time that is done, no, I do not recommend that this practice be reinstated, because that's why I immediately ceased it. Because once I became aware that something was being done, and, you know, even though it had been going on for many years, you know, over time it doesn't ripen and become legal. It remains illegal. And then if I had continued to allow the practice, knowing that it had never been properly instituted, then yes, the county would have been cited for, yes, you allowed, you know, a known illegal practice to continue.
Mm-hmm. You know, when you discover something in your position and in this board's position, just like when our attorney gives us advice, once we've been made aware of something, we have to take the right action. So immediately stopping the advance payment, even though it's been going on maybe for 20 years, it still doesn't legally, it doesn't make it right. We've been in violation for, say, 20 years. So I hope the public appreciates that we ceased what we were not authorized to be doing, even though it was a good thing. But we want to get it right to where we can do it in the proper way. Madam Chair.
Yes, sir. What's the?
I'm through.
Okay, so what is?
Madam Chair, I make the motion due to obligation as a member of this board that we continue with the advice of the county manager, his direction to the customer service department to not accept any advance prepayments, and that we resolve the matter as promptly as possible. Long motion.
I second that.
It's been properly moved and second that due to the obligation of this board, and I may misspeak it, not to accept any more prepayments until we resolve this matter. Does that sum it up?
Mm-hmm. Our earliest convenience.
Is that?
At our earliest convenience, I think you said.
Are they gonna pay back what people have
No.
I mean, I think that'll be deducted.
If we change it the proper way, then the money we have, we won't have.
The money that is already on hand, no, I haven't ordered that there be a refunding of 880 some accounts of that money. That money will continue to be applied.
It'll still be deducted for your
To
payments.
future water bills.
Your
Yes.
water bills.
Whatever balances are there and will continue to be used. The instruction was that there would be no more acceptance of any further money.
Until we can get it straight how to do it.
Yes, ma'am.
My question is, since I'm one of the people who has my bank account automatically deducted, so I do have a credit and it shows as a minus. If this was an interest-bearing account that was illegal, are we gonna get credit for our interest?
You see, may I?
That's
the issue.
Welcome to my world.
That's the issue. I'm glad you brought that up. You see, a person could come and complain about that issue and only have $7.85 in that we're holding. And we could have this issue that could cost all of us time over the interest on $7.50. So that's why we need to get to the end of it, and that's what we're trying to do. I see another hand, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
I don't think that anybody who pays the hit on purpose reasonably expects to be paid interest.
Thank you.
I certainly wouldn't. But I know for a fact that every other county in the Albemarle area was asked this week if they would accept an overpayment on a water bill at the counter, and they all said absolutely. So they're doing it, then we need to figure out how they're doing it. Are they doing it like we were, or they got something else figured out? But it's being done in every other county in the Albemarle area.
Yeah, we need to follow the LGC and
And
legal
it's
advice
because we
on
don't
it.
have a policy. I mean, that we don't have it written down somewhere. How we
But we never voted on it. That's
We
the
never
issue.
voted on it.
We're not saying it cannot be done. What we're saying, we don't have a policy to do it. It's like we're making it up as we go.
Do it as quickly as possible.
Oh, yeah, we
We
are.
will do it as quickly as possible. We did not have a policy. Remember what we said? The auditor audits you against your policy. We don't have a policy, and now the auditors know. We self-reported, and that was a good thing. When you self-report that, they look favorably on whatever.
turn yourself in.
You turn yourself in. So we turned ourselves in, and that looks favorable to us. The finance director had just sent off our materials to be reviewed before the auditors hit the ground in 2 weeks. And when we saw this, she immediately started gathering the documentation and doing some things to send in an amendment to this current audit. So it looks good on us that we saw it, we caught it, and we addressed it, and that we turned ourselves in, self-reported, but we cannot continue to do that. When you turn yourself in, you don't keep on doing it. We got to fix it, yes, we do, and the county manager and the staff will do that. And that's in a nutshell. Did I capture it?
We'll have a policy where we can do it.
We can't do it now. We just can't. You turn yourself in and keep on doing what you're doing. No.
And we also must remember the word intent.
Yeah, good point.
Don't
I mean,
forget it.
nobody, we're not saying anybody that was.
Getting close to it.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
can we move on?
We can. I think the clerk has what she needs. Thank you, Diane, for Ms. Hendricks. I think that. My chair updates have already been discussed when we had that long discussion about economic development. So I'm not going to go over that, just to let you know that I will be doing updates every board meeting, and we will continue that. I will ask for commissioner and county manager updates, if any. Go ahead.
Okay, I serve on the Albemarle Commission. And I just wanted to tell you a couple of things that are happening concerning economic development. The Hampton Roads Planning District has reached out to the Albemarle Commission to collaborate with them on an EDA grant. This is a nationwide grant, the Build Back Better grant. Applications were due on the 19th of this month. We have sent one in, and the funding requested could be anywhere from $25 to $100 million on this. And the purpose is, it was be better, our chances are better partnering with Hampton Roads. We're already in the Hampton Roads Metro, but it is, could be exciting things coming down the road for economic development, with working with the Hampton Roads people, with the port system, with things that could be advantageous, small things coming here, maybe a assembly plant to put together something that's coming from China or wherever country we're importing things from, to assemble things. It could be simply for more opportunities for trucks and truck drivers for hauling, but it is a potential for economic development. So we'll have to wait and see. I have a meeting with the Albemarle Commission tomorrow night. We'll get an update on, I know the grant should have been put in. Also, the Albemarle Commission had we are a member of, had a consulting firm come in to help with marketing and things that we could use when trying to encourage people to come. Most people don't know where northeastern North Carolina is, so this is one drawing to show you. It pulls it out to be ever, And also, it's a flyer here, look for a prime logistic location with a skilled workforce, and it accentuates the 10 county that belong to the Albemarle Commission. We have 53 higher education institutions across the state for our workforce. We have natural beauty, you won't want to leave. We have a competitive business tax climate here, and it points out positive things for the region that we can use to piggyback on when we are looking for economic development. And so I just wanted to share that with you, that we are looking for things, looking for partnerships, and to help us grab some economic development.
Commissioner Freeman?
A few things, but one thing came to my mind, and I hate to bring this back up, talking about the water bill and prepayments. What about the tax payments?
They are
We pay
different
in advance.
That's a bill.
It's a bill. Okay.
That's the simplest way I can
So,
explain it. It's
all right.
more complicated.
General statute allows that.
Yeah, general statute.
So,
Different laws that apply.
all right.
Okay.
Well, anyway, I had that question from that. From the standpoint of the Board of Health and also Trillium, the state of North Carolina has determined they're going to reach into the pocket of Trillium and take monies, millions of dollars from Trillium. So there'll be some cuts backs on crisis intervention.
Wow.
And other programs. So we're fighting that, but the state, as they are, and we've seen them do it, reach in for Medicaid and Medicare, reach in the pockets and take that back out when they see that money is in there. So be aware of that. Some of those programs are going to be cut down and cut back. From the standpoint of our COVID, and COVID is not anything to play with, nothing to sneeze at. That might be a pun. Because I had COVID, so I know what it is like to a degree. Still no taste, still no smell. We had, and I think I reported these figures before because they haven't really changed. We've had 3,875 people have their first shot. Their second shot, 3,875. So pretty close. Lab confirmed cases in Gates County, 1,089. Active cases are 87. So recovered 1,014. And deaths, we're at 18. Are all those figures correct? Never know, because we do cross the county lines and the state lines, rather. So wanted to report that. Do want to say to you, after listening to my fellow commissioners and county manager, we're here to create economics for the county, and it's for the good of the county. And that's why we're here, and that's why we're not any different than anyone else in the county. It just so happens these are positions that we have. There are multiple facets of creating economics, and those of you that are in private business know that. So all we're trying to do is just achieve success for Gates County in whatever method we can. And as mentioned, and Reba brought it up, the mill pond. So those amounts of visitors we have, let's think about that as an economic development and not forget it. So that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, may I say one other thing?
No.
I generally answer my emails, but my phone platform, I forgot how you explained it, Warren, it collapsed. And so I had to come out here this morning and get my phone back up with my kind of email.
I'm going to use that one.
like that.
My email collapsed.
Sounds platform collapse. I like that. That's a good.
Oh, well, something about my platform.
All right. Commissioner Owens.
Thank you, commissioners. I love to hear that word economic down there from both of you. In our county, we have a lot of good people. We have a lot of generous people, people that serve the community, volunteerism, and we lost one of those people Monday night. My good friend Mickey Lee struggled for a month, maybe a little bit more, with an illness that took him. And I was by his house yesterday, and I think the family is doing pretty good. But Mickey was generous with his time. He was generous with his finances, volunteered every opportunity he could. He was good to Gates County, and I just wanted to make sure tonight that I made that statement, and I'm telling you something that you all already know.
Here, here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
County Manager, you have anything else to add?
Just a few items. I'm setting up a meeting next week to meet with the company who's administering the housing grants for the county, because I have not seen any progress. I find it surprising. I haven't even seen a single status report on the administration of these, so I'm going to require a meeting for them to fully, set forth and explain these grants, where they're at. If you're interested in having them attend a future meeting, I'll be more than glad to make that possible too. But I saw where you met with them before, and it does not seem like it yielded much result. So, I'm going to light a fire, so to speak, to try to get some things moving on that front. Heard from Davis Monument. They have the monument. It has been delivered. They're doing the sketch that'll be used for the stenciling to put the engraving or the blasting on, and they said that they anticipate that should be completed maybe in about 3 weeks. I'm going to try to, even though it is very busy, try to have a report next month for the board's consideration for some different alternatives or scenarios concerning staffing and county organization of departments. Be glad to meet with the personnel committee in advance if so chosen, but have just a few ideas I would like to bring forward to the board. And I hope you've noticed, after a lot of work, did finally execute the contract for grass cutting and maintenance. That was done with Brinkley Lawn Care, and I think, what I've seen thus far, the properties have looked very good. I think he's a great improvement to the property, so that has been taken care of. And that's all I have.
Okay. I have a check here that was presented to me by Mr. Kittrell from his father. The Gates County ABC Board is presenting this check for $30,309 for the county. I think the last time he received a check, it was what,
Around 8,000.
Around 8,000. So y'all are really hitting the ABC board.
Somebody's hitting the bottle.
So, Mr. Kittrell, please thank your father for all he's doing in the board to support us in the county. So I'm going to hand this over to the county manager for proper deposit. But thank you again, and make sure he understands. And we are concerned about the Lee family, and I hope that the board will do something for the Lee family, of course, something. So I'm looking at the board clerk to please send something on behalf of the county manager. County commissioners, now I'm going to ask for a motion to go into closed session, North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A, personnel, and North Carolina General Statute 143-18.11A, attorney-client privilege. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly a motion and second. Are we ready to vote?
Aye.
We're in closed session.
Give us a countdown on the screen, don't it?
Ray's looking all serious.
Good evening again. I entertain a motion to come out of closed session.
So move.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved in second. I will have a vote. All
Aye.
in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So move.
Second.
Move.
It's been motion in second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
The marathon is over.